How much does it actually cost to travel to the moon? Cost breakdown. Hello lovely YouTube family, welcome back to Marvel 10s. In today's videos, we are going to talk about how much does it actually cost to travel to the moon? Cost breakdown. But before we start, I will want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. The Apollo program kept the American public captivated. It gave us some great film and photos and some timeless sound bites. It also cost $28 billion. In today's dollars, that's roughly equal to $288 billion. And now NASA is finally planning to go back, but can we really afford to do that? How much would it cost to send humans to the moon in the 2020s? Considering that we have new and better technology and would not have to start the whole endeavor from scratch. According to Space.com, NASA's preliminary estimates for the cost of a modern moon landing are roughly $20 to $30 billion, which A, is a ridiculous amount of money, and B, is not nearly as ridiculous as $288 billion. And that estimate include a whole lot of stuff from the first moon landings that didn't have to, like building a space station on the moon, working with commercial and international partners, and visiting the moon's south pole. Also, the program would be implemented primarily as a practice run for going to Mars. So it's not like we're just proving a concept, which is really what those first moon landings were all about. We're actually preparing to do even bigger and better things.
Just less than 0.5% of the federal budget at $21 billion. So they're now given less than half the money they once had. In reality, the Apollo space program was ludicrously expensive.
Prices for moon landings subject to change. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine says some savings will come from the fact that the SLS rocket and Orion capsule already exist and won't have to be built from scratch, so we do have the benefit of all the things we've learned in the past and all of our current technologies. Keep in mind though that it's notoriously difficult to make descent cost estimates when it comes to endeavors where there are a lot of unknowns, and trips to space are full of unknowns. So NASA's current estimate could change by 2024, which is when they're saying we'll be ready to go to the moon again, or it could change after 2024. Once the program is underway and suddenly someone realizes that they forgot to account for the poop disposal or lunar alien defense systems, perhaps they could combine them both to save money. Whether it's the assassination of JFK or Joan Rivers, Americans love a good conspiracy theory, but none of that captured the imagination quite like that time we faked the moon landing. Yup, that's right, we never landed on the moon. Is your mind blown? Well, it shouldn't be, because of course we landed on it, dummy. Still, according to a 1999 Gallup poll, 6% of Americans thought the moon landings were fake and 5% said they weren't sure. So what gives? Why would otherwise normal, critically thinking adults believe that we faked the most monumental achievement in human history? What sort of nonsense could they have read to wash their brains so thoroughly? Let's take a trip to the dark side of the moon and find out all the banana theories these lunar truthers have been spewing. Where did this nonsense come from? President Kennedy first implored America to land on the moon in 1962, but by the time Neil Armstrong took his giant leap for mankind, Richard Nixon was the president and the country was neck-deep in a war that looked to have no end. Perhaps it's no shock that, with confidence in our government fading, some folks chose to believe that we weren't capable of this monumental feat. And they weren't shy about sharing it, latching into every inconsistency and odd fact that they could get their hands on. Bill Kaysing, the father of the moon hoax movement, even wrote a book, We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion Swindle, helping to normalize what had, up to that point, been the whispers of cooks and crackpots. Now, thanks to self-publishing, the cooks had a voice. So what kind of evidence did Kaysing and his ilk hold up as proof that our trip to the moon never happened? The best conspiracy $30 billion can buy. Bill Kaysing, along with a growing number of skeptics, questioned whether astronauts could survive traveling through the Van Allen radiation belt, a collection of charged particles gathered in place by Earth's magnetic field. Hint, we can. They claimed that crosshairs in the astronauts' camera lenses used to help estimate size and distance appeared behind objects in the developed photographs. They didn't. That only happened in low-resolution copies of the originals. They claimed there were artificial sources of lighting that made no sense. There weren't. And they claimed that the landing craft left no blast crater when it landed. It didn't because physics. That the letter C was visible on a rock someone lost a hair when making a copy, and that the planted flag was actually flapping in the wind. It wouldn't extend all the way, so it looked weird. All in all, they picked apart every image, every recording, and every anecdote to make their case. There's still one big question, however, that the moon truthers have yet to adequately explain. Why bother faking the moon landing at all? And that's all for today, folks. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from us.